Welcome back, everyone, to Random's Thoughts. We're jumping into another preview. There's a lot of exciting things on not just the horizon, but on our very doorstep when it comes to Runestrike. And I felt the most appropriate way to lead into this would be some, we'll say, spoken poetry. Excuse me. To quote the effervescent, the indelible AC/DC. If you want blood, baby, you've got it. I have to admit, I've been dying to reference that particular song. There's blood on the streets, there's blood on the rocks, there's blood in the gutter, every last drop. Because baby, if you want blood, you've got it. The Virility Witch is super exciting for an enormous number of reasons. And as mentioned earlier, there's an incredible amount of things coming to Runestrike that are super exciting. We could be talking about the leaderboards. We could be talking about the start of a new season and a new champion. We could be talking about the other cards. But I'm super hyped for that woman over there because Virility Witch represents an insane value to me. Oh, you may have heard of this card. What's it called again? Oh yeah, Light's Grace. It's kind of a big deal for the Light faction, and by extension, any hero, any champion that happens to feature Light. What if I could tell you that I have a better version? Is it strictly better? I don't know that I go that far. Obviously, there's a cost difference. There's a difference between playing a spell versus a minion. But for 1 extra mana, you get a 2/7 body, which is nothing to sneeze at. Oh, and by the way, if you look down there, it's a mage priest, which means that it will fit into a number of different tribal builds, including ones from just a couple of seasons ago where mages were kind of the focus. So, why am I so excited about Virility Witch? Well, if you played card games for any length of time, you've assuredly heard that your life is a resource. And in Runestrike, that's no different. The fact of the matter is that whoever has life at the end of the game wins the game. Yes, you need to preserve it. You need to protect it. You got to make sure that you don't die. But just like cards, just like mana, and just like blood, you want to expend your life total in order to further your ends, further your game plan so that way you can actually close the game out in your favor. Virility Witch does that on a number of different fronts, and it's super hype. What are all those fronts? Well, as you'd kind of guess, you're now utilizing your life total in a different way. Blood is a very precious resource. I know we could make some kind of vampire joke, and I was thinking about that at the beginning, but blood is a very difficult resource to come by, and every single champion in the game really wants to utilize it to its fullest extent. A number of the deck breakdowns I've done recently, I've uttered the phrase, well, this is a very greedy deck when it comes to blood generation, and you need all of your blood to make sure you get great usage out of it. Well, what if I told you, as mentioned before, it's Light's Grace on a body? So now you can just burn some life points and then generate an enormous amount of value because you could do things such as, Emrys A3 on back-to-back turns without having to generate an enormous blood total. You can Emrys right now, A3 right now, and expend for another blood ability this turn, or if for some reason you want to bank that blood ability, the Virility Witch's Warcry will actually carry over turn to turn. So if you play this on 5, you can utilize that blood ability on 6 without having to burn the actual blood. You'll just be utilizing your health. That should be mind-blowing to everybody out there, but just in case it's not, I'll explain why. As mentioned, blood is a very precious resource, but you can gain an enormous tempo advantage through usage of those blood abilities. We talked about Emrys, but what if it's just simply Crow making things dangerous on back-to-back turns? Or what if it's Keeper just able to spot remove 2 enormous threats and you don't have to worry about actually expending any cards because you advanced your board in the form of the Witch as well as removing your opponent's threats? It's actually a huge jump in resources, and I am super excited to run this card. It doesn't matter what nature hero I'm playing. I'm going to be running a full set of Virility Witch as soon as I can get my hands on her, because it's just incredible. The ramifications of this are far-reaching. I have another video that hasn't released yet, at least time of this, where I'm talking about how blood abilities are the most important thing in the game of Runestrike. And here we have a card in the form of Virility Witch that is going to allow you to leverage all of those incredibly powerful abilities and extra time. Look, yes, there are plenty of games where you're going to come down to the wire and you win 1-0, or that if you took 4 or 5 extra points of damage, you would have lost the game. It's easy to get lost in those sort of discussions. But realistically, what if 4 or 5 turns prior, you were able to do some kind of explosive play, leverage because of the Virility Witch? If something came out and said, oh, hey, whenever you wanted, you could get an extra 2 to 5 mana, everybody would probably look at that and go, wow, that's pretty good, especially if you can just bank it for whatever you wanted to do. That's exactly how the blood abilities work. And in the meantime, you can continue advancing your plan and just save it for that particular moment when you want to. There are so many different ways to utilize Virility Witch that I can't squeeze them all into this video. But I'd love to hear what other people's thoughts are, whether you're excited for this or whether you have a different card from preview season. But that'll do it for this time. As always, everybody, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And Black Lives Matter.